Welcome back. We have 3 vendors again to review today. We are going to start in the Scholarium, head over to the Imperial City for the Telvar Merchant, and then finally end up in Infinite Archive. And if you saw my video yesterday, you know that the Infinite Archive vendor now carries 3 patterns for us to get for 2,000 Telvar apiece. So I'm excited to see what those are. Let's get started.
My accommodation.
First up, Bound Affix Script Innervation. Adds Innervation, a debuff reducing critical damage. Bound Affix Script Magicka Steel. Adds Magicka Steel, a debuff granting Magicka Restoration to attackers. Bound Focus Script Dispel. Adds a Dispel. Bound Signature Script Cavalier's Charge. Adds an increase to damage as ability persists effect. Alright, let's head over to Imperial City. Okay, we are now in Imperial Sewers, and you're going to want to look for the Telvar Merchant. There are different names in each of the bases, but this is the only Telvar Merchant.
Keep throwing.
We have Craglorn treasure maps. I think 6,000 Telvar is way too expensive for this. Craglorn treasure maps are fairly inexpensive at traders, but if you were curious, Craglorn brings us Way of Air, Way of Fire, and Way of Martial Knowledge. Our scripts: Bound Affix Script Heroism. Adds Heroism, a buff increasing ultimate generation. Bound Affix Script Interrupt. Adds Interruption effect. Bound Focus Script Bleed Damage. Adds Bleed Damage. And Bound Signature Script Leeching Thirst. Adds a heal for percentage of damage done. We have a Fragment. This is Fragment of the Baron. This is part of Puncture Lava Burst skill style. It's 1 of 6 pieces. This one comes from the final boss of the Cauldron, which is a DLC dungeon. Our leads this week: Nilumen River Pearls. This is for Pearls of Elnofi. This one comes from the final boss of Banished Cells 1. And Lead Wide Barbed Shank. This is for Death Dealer's Feet and drops from Craglorn Anomalies, the final chest on the Ankara Anomalies. And then our jewelry: Necklace of the Phoenix, Ring of the Phoenix, Spell Strategist Necklace, and Spell Strategist Ring. And finally, we're in Infinite Archive. Let's see what Filer Ul has.
To me if you want something.
Let's get books for now. We have Academ's Almalexia deck fragment. Of course, this is for the Almalexia deck, and it's found occasionally after defeating Herald Seekers in the Telvanni Peninsula and Apocrypha zones. Those Herald Seekers are kind of difficult by yourself. So if that's a struggle for you and you need this deck fragment, absolutely good. Okay. Archival Enigmas. Consume 20 Archival Enigmas to unlock the Veteran of the Infinite achievement and the Veteran of the Infinite face art. Here's the face art. These are a guaranteed drop eventually with enough of your daily coffers in Infinite Archive. I don't think they're worth 3,000 Archival Fortunes, not when you need 20 of them. So just be patient and do your dailies as often as you can. Okay, our treasure map is Clockwork City. Yet again, I don't think this is worth 2,000 Archival Fortunes when they're so cheap at traders. But Clockwork City gives you Livewire, Mad Tinkerer, and Unfathomable Darkness. There's also a chance of getting 1 of 4 different book furnishings. If you're not sure how the book furnishings work, there is a link below. You do need to know the eidetic memory of the book in order to be able to find it in the treasure chest. But again, you can get the treasure maps pretty cheap off Guild Traders. Big-Eared Ginger Kitten's Bait Mouse. This is 1 of 7 pieces for the Big-Eared Ginger Kitten and comes out of Carnwasten Public Dungeon in Somerset. I do think these drop fairly easily, and they're relatively inexpensive at Guild Traders. It looks like on PCNA they run about 1,500 to 2,000 gold a piece. I don't think that's worth 2,000 Archival Fortunes. What might be worth it, though, we have Blueprint Halalu Cupboard Formal. This one currently retails for about 40 to 50k on PCNA. We have Blueprint Khajiit Wardrobe Arched. This one retails for about 17 to 40k. And Necron Planter Large. This one retails for about 28 to 35k on PCNA again. At 2,000 Archival Fortunes, these I think are probably worth it. And we have tested it. If you do not have the DLCs, you can still buy these patterns. So I do think this one's probably worth it if you don't have these patterns yet. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Courage, adds courage, buff increasing weapon and spell damage. Bound Focus Script Shock Damage, adds shock damage. Bound Signature Script Wayfarer's Mastery, adds improved functionality of skill line passives. Our style page is Stonekeeper's Shoulder. Now, Stonekeeper is the final boss in Frostvault. However, the shoulders you get with keys, so you don't have to have like the hard mode of Frostvault, which is a doozy. I don't know that shoulders are worth it when you can use keys. I think pledges are easy enough. You can get keys on normal. It's a handsome shoulder, but I suggest using keys. So typically I don't recommend shoulders. I do recommend masks. If this were the Stonekeeper mask, I would be all about it. Next up, we have companion equipment jewelry. I do think companion jewelry is a better bet than the companion armor that we often see, just because jewelry doesn't have weights that you have to worry about the RNG. You don't have to worry about light, medium, or heavy jewelry. You are still at the mercy of RNG for the trait, but remember these are bound, so if you get something that you don't want, you're kind of stuck with it. Next up are our leads. First, we have Malakath's Brutal Rune Core. Of course, this is for Malakath's Band of Brutality. This one drops from the Imperial City roaming bosses in the upper portion. If you did not get this during the recent White Streaks Mayhem event, this is a great one to buy. Those roaming bosses are brutal, especially by yourself, and then you also have the PvP factor. I highly recommend just getting this one if you don't have it already. However, I do not recommend this one. The lead for Vacuum Filtration Apparatus is for the Telvanni Alchemy Station, and it is a static lead. That means it spawns on the ground. You just go pick it up. So don't buy this one. Just go into Telvanni Peninsula, walk over to it and pick it up. It is certainly not worth 5,000 archival fortunes, and the time it will take to farm 5,000 archival fortunes when it's a guaranteed drop, no RNG involved, you just go pick it up. And finally, our books. We have a Memory Book Part 3. Nice, pretty open book. I'm excited about this one because it drops from Scrivener's Hall, which has a horrendous drop rate. You have to get the keys from the loot goblins, take it to the final chest room, open a bunch of chests, and hope that you get it. And remember, you also have to have the eidetic memory to either buy it or get it in Scrivener's Hall. This one's a pretty easy one to get. It is in Maelstrom Arena, but you don't actually have to run Maelstrom Arena. It is in the starter area before you even begin the arena. And then our last book is What's an Arcanist Part 2. Both of these books appear to be new. This one drops out of Infinite Archive, and the eidetic memory is in Telvanni Peninsula. Okay, it is time for us to run some Infinite Archive and see what new gear is dropping this week. We just ran some Infinite Archive, and it looks like this week we have gear dropping from Bankerai. That includes 7th Legion Brute, Spriggan's Thorns, and Vampire Lord. And then our DLC zone gear is from Gold Coast. That includes Flanking Strategist, Hide of Morehouse, and Sithis' Touch. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.